You doing the
Yep,
silly pre-roll?
I gotta make sure it pops up though. But we should be live right now. It's just gonna do the delay. Hi guys, just wait 1 second while we make sure there's no overlap in audio. There we go. Okay, now pretend you didn't see us. let's let everyone filter in for a little bit first here, and then we'll do everything. Gonna go ahead and click send there. Yep. Got that. Gonna pop out the chitty chat. Bring that up there. Wait, it says just say we're live, right? Not that people are still waiting, watching. Okay.
Yeah,
Here we go.
This poster must have come out today because I didn't even see that when I was sending stuff over to you.
That's a good poster.
Yeah, it is.
All right. So, what's up, guys? We're just waiting a couple of seconds while a few more people filter in, but you know what? We got 10, so what do you say we get it going for the people that are here? Shall we?
Yes, I'm just tagging the horror show. I'm doing the socials,
That's okay.
guys.
You'll have a minute to do it. Here we go. Give them a second. And
welcome back, ghouls and girls, to the horror show. Slam a drink, grab a seat. It's news with booze.
all right, so there we go, guys. I thought there was something after that. I thought it was like the normal intro after that.
No, it's, we just go right in. But maybe we should edit.
I need to re-edit and add that back in there. All right, so hey everyone, I'm Cecil Laird.
I'm Jaime Fuego.
And this is the Horror Show News
with booze. Schlabanga.
Right. We're back once again.
Yes.
Guys, if you can't see over there, we have 20 stories to go through today. Lots of interesting stuff.
Yes, and that's just from this month. I thought about going into the previous month of July and just kind of see, but no, there was a lot of heavy hitters, and there's only so much time we can take, and take of your time as well. So thanks for coming.
Indeed. Good to see everyone. Thank you for joining. Say hello in the chat if you haven't yet. We got Big Rod in the chat. Big Rod. Chop that like button, he says. Nolan in the chat. Gene Whittycombe in the chat. And Eli Cortez, Robert the Wolfman. What's up, one and all? So, I guess we should just go ahead and jump right into the first story, Fuego. We got to start this train
and that's where
rolling.
I don't know the specific ones that you went with. So for me to actually bring up the
James Cameron Terminator project is number 1.
Okay,
this is a news story that I actually remember hearing about a few weeks ago, and then more Avatar news came out and seemed to drown this out.
It always does, and I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, James Cameron has been affiliated to some degree with the last 2 that came out, right? The one Tim Miller directed, which I believe was
he's a producer,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whether EP or know on a producer standpoint, but he claimed that he was taking a little bit more of a hands-on approach with the recent one that had Mackenzie Davis and was directed by Tim Miller.
Right. That kid Tim Miller.
Yeah, that kid Tim Miller. He's never going to live down that joke from Kevin Smith fans, man.
Not for us.
But so there is the new animated series that. Sorry, I'm so many different potential stories that I scrolled past you. But there's the new series that's on Netflix.
Terminator Zero.
That just recently
I watched
debuted.
the first episode so far. I will be finishing it. It's good so far. I mean, it's basic setup. You know, the Terminator doesn't go back in time until the very end of the first episode, and it's 8 episodes total. So. It's just setting up the human characters in that first episode.
Okay. Well, damn. I'm trying. We're
Are we struggling? Do you need me to pull it up on my?
Well, that's the thing, because there's so many different stories that I had sent over, and I'm just looking at the links as opposed to.
There's the news. Let me see.
I was like, I almost clicked. Okay, there it is. Sorry. Yeah, because I
Found
almost
it.
clicked on the other James, the James
Found
1 story of sorts. But yeah, so this was an article from Bloody Disgusting that was recently put together for us. But so Dark Fate was that last one that came out in 2019, directed by aforementioned kid Tim Miller. But yeah, Terminator Saga is continuing currently with Terminator Zero, which just debuted, the 29th? So it is freshly minted and debuted. But if we're going to jump to the actual comments, so Cameron said it looks interesting. My relationship to that is very much like the Sarah Connor Chronicles, which I still never watched, man. That was a live action that had Brian Austin Green, I want to say. Didn't it have one of the 90210 guys on there?
I think, yeah, maybe for a
was it
small
Jason
role.
Priestley or something?
No,
anyway.
it was Bag. I think it was Bag.
Okay.
But
it
was
two seasons on
it was
Fox,
more
if I remember
appropriately Summer
correctly.
Glau as the Terminator that was trying to protect John Connor, who was played by a up-and-coming actor that was also in the Laid to Rest franchise, my beloved Chrome Skull franchise.
Oh, okay.
He was in one of, actually might have been in both of those films, along with Lena Headey, the Queen Cersei herself from Game of Thrones. But that's being sidetracked. I quite liked Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles.
Okay.
Sarah
Well,
Connor
yeah, dude, and I actually think I
Yeah,
bought...
Cersei played Sarah Connor, if you guys didn't know that.
Oh,
Queen
okay.
Cersei played Sarah Connor in that.
Interesting, yeah, because I recognize the actress, but so yeah, in a recent article with an interview, I should specify, with the Hollywood Reporter, that's where Cameron, he gave his comments about both the prospects of later Avatar films and also about.
Wait, I hope I got that right.
Maybe.
It's Lena Headey, right?
I mean, I recognize the actress, but
wasn't Lena Headey Cersei? Hang on, did I get that wrong? I might get that wrong.
Well, as he's looking at that, everybody,
Yeah.
so the big quote was that, so he continued, it looks like they're going back to the root cause of Judgment Day, the nuclear war, and whether that's an ultimate. But this was the big thing, and it's why it's bolded in the quote that Bloody Disgusting ran
She was
with.
Cersei also.
I'm working on my own Terminator stuff right now. It's got nothing to do with that. And then he proceeds to say it's totally classified. So we're running first off with
What up, Jeff?
one of these stories where it's like, okay, he hints there is more live-action Terminator in development that he is assisting with. I mean, the dream scenario would be for him to, before he departs this mortal plane, maybe make another Terminator film and actually direct it as opposed to just being affiliated with it.
That would be nice.
But, I mean, with the amount of just effort that these Avatar films are going to be taking over the next X amount of years, there's, 2 or 3 more that they still have on slate. I don't necessarily foresee that happening, and so it is... it's relatively scant on the details besides him specifying that, yeah, it's totally classified, and he's like, I don't want to have to send out a potentially dangerous robotic agent if you were to talk about it, okay, so yeah, he's obviously teasing about the fact that I'm not going to divulge any details to you, but the fact that he would even deliberately float the idea, I mean, that means that something is in the works with him.
To me, that's what that says, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, it's not just going to live on forever, because they're still doing comic books, I would imagine, as well. But yeah, it's not just going to be in the animated sphere. It's not just going to be, in potential television sphere, which is what Netflix is the equivalent of, is, television with the occasional made-for-TV movie. So, I mean, I love the franchise. There were people saying that with Alien Romulus, that franchise was dead. Why the hell are they making another Alien movie? But the box office success of that film has shown that those 80s properties, most notably Alien, Terminator, and Predator, I think still have some life in them with the right hands, the right story. I mean, audiences still kind of give a crap in my estimation, at least. So
Yeah.
yes, yeah, but
I agree.
not much to say on this one beyond the fact that he's like, I'm working on something, and that's about it.
I'd be excited for more James Cameron
Yeah.
Terminator, especially if he's at the helm.
Oh, yeah.
If he's just talking about producing another thing, that's much less exciting, but that's not... I didn't feel like that's what I got out of the quotes that he was saying. I did feel like, because he's so far along
little more
on the
definitive.
Avatar movies up through 5,
Yeah.
that maybe, I mean, that's supposed to all be done by like 2027, right? Like, I think they're supposed to, or
I
maybe,
thought it
maybe
was like more like
2029.
28 or 29, but
Maybe
if
it's
you
2029.
include the prequel. But I thought he was talking about handing the directorial reins off for the prequel and for all this other shit for
I don't
those.
know.
Yeah,
I
for,
hope so.
For the Avatar
Anyway,
stuff.
yeah, I agree. I hope that before he retires, he does one more Terminator thing, and I hope that's what he's referring to.
Yeah, because it's really what made his name in this industry was the first Terminator movie, and then the Abyss there. But the first Terminator, I mean, all he'd done before that was that the Piranhas sequel that he took his name off of, or that they fired him from, depending on who you talk to, you know. So
there you go.
Yeah, guys.
That is story number one.
Yeah. So thoughts on Cameron, more Terminator? What capacity would his involvement be in? Is what I would inquire amongst everybody. Now, the second story here is where I have some legitimate interest.
Yeah, me too.
And where I'm a little bit more
funny picture. I found
yeah.
too.
Oh yeah, little bit more seasoned about this one. And so you and Robert actually reviewed all of the sequels and crossovers of this franchise.
Yes
recently.
and no.
Yes
there
and no.
is
Okay.
a Chinese remake that came out this year.
This year?
Yeah, the trailer
Damn.
dropped in March, but we cannot find it anywhere. Like, we cannot find it anywhere
Probably
online to watch.
Yeah, maybe if you use one of those
VPNs,
yeah, so
maybe
you could,
so.
like, change your territory or whatever. But
Maybe. I wouldn't know how to search for it in Chinese, unfortunately.
well, I mean, Google Translate does a lot, right?
Oh, yeah, there you go. If only
Yeah.
I had a keyboard that knew how to type those characters.
Well, I mean, maybe if you did Anaconda, you know, and then it translated it to Cantonese or whatever. But in any event, guys, I remember very distinctively seeing the original Anaconda in theaters, 97, I want to say, 97, 98, somewhere around there. Star-studded cast. I mean, it's like star-studded cast. Jon Voight, Ice Cube, Owen Wilson, Jesus, J-Lo, obviously. I mean, there were...
Jon Voight.
Jon Voight, yeah. Mm-hmm. And also... redhead dude whose name is eluding me. He was the original Marty McFly. He was in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Is that Eric Roberts?
No, not Eric Roberts. But
who was the first?
Oh, he was
Marty
also
McFly?
in. He was in a bunch of the John Hughes movies. I know he was in St. Elmo's Fire. His name is eluding me. Anyway, he's the guy who got the little like fish stuck in his throat in the movie, and he was paralyzed, and he thought he was dead. Anyway,
That's right.
I love that first Eric Stoltz. I want to say his name is
Eric Stoltz.
Eric Stoltz.
Right.
Yeah. So Eric, you were right on the first part.
Yeah,
but,
I knew it was an Eric.
Yeah, man. But this is a film that I thought really pushed the PG-13 at the time in a great way, man. I mean, with people getting swallowed up, and as long as you didn't do gore,
yeah,
you know,
it was. I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off.
No,
people get mad at me when I do.
Go.
I was going to say it's also, early but still quality CG.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's theatrical CG. We got some cool attacks from the Anaconda. I'm always going to remember the attack as people are jumping off the waterfall to escape it. And it manages still to grab it in thin air and wrap him up, you know.
Yeah, and I also loved
cool.
seeing the indentation of the bodies in the belly of the snake. That stuff was really rad, man. Mm-hmm. And Jon Voight, father of Angelina Jolie,
getting spit out and winking.
With the eye and everything. Oh, it's good stuff, man. Mm-hmm. I think the second one was put in theaters because I remember seeing it in theaters with the girl I was dating and her mom at the time, and boy, we were just like. Talk about a step back, man. We were just shocked. And I mean, there was no star power in it, so it wasn't that unexpected, but it just felt much more like a direct-to-video situation in comparison. Well, spin-offs and, crossovers with, like, Placid and whatever aside, they're working on a new one, but it's very much taking the meta approach which I can kind of dig, actually, especially with the two actors that are presumably signing on to do it, being in the picture we see there, Paul Rudd and Jack Black.
And Jack Black. And so the meta aspect, that just means that they decide to go down to South America and remake Anaconda when apparently the set gets attacked by an
real Anaconda.
Which, if you think about it, it's funny because the first movie they were just trying to make a nature documentary.
Yeah, so there was the filming aspect.
And then they were attacked by an anaconda. So it's the same thing. It's just they're filming something different.
Yeah.
And they're making it more comedy worthy, which is great as long as they still put, and if they're going to get star power, they're going to put money into the effects.
Well, and the director is what especially intrigues me because he has that meta self-referential sort of history. He's the one who wrote and directed the Weight of Massive Talent or whatever it was.
The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent,
the Nick Cage movie.
Cage
so he
and
has
Pedro Pascal, Daddy.
I love that movie, dude. Their bromance is just, it warms my heart, man. It's not a perfect movie, but it's a really cute movie.
Pedro Pascal is just awesome.
Oh, he's great, man. Yeah. He's great. And so the fact that was a very self-aware, just kind of, self-referential and all that different stuff, I think that this could be really fun. my only fear is that it's going to go a little more in the like snakes on a plane kind of route.
I don't think it'll go that.
I mean, I'm hopeful it doesn't, but with
Schlocky.
this sort of casting, that's the only kind of fear I have. I mean,
No, I don't think that they don't.
if they go
they
like the
don't,
Piranha 3D route, dude, I'll be like all about it.
This caliber of stars wouldn't do that. You know, they wouldn't do the Piranha 3 Double D. They might do Piranha 3D, which was still enjoyable.
Yeah, really enjoyable.
But they wouldn't do the 3 Double D. This has to have at least somewhat quality if they're going to actually do it. I'll bet they're just like, okay, I'm interested, but I need to see the script, you know? So hopefully they're working hard behind the scenes on making it a fun but gory, horror comedy.
It does make
good
me
horror
wonder.
comedy is amazing.
So they were all PG-13, right? I mean, I would love if they
No,
went...
I think some of them were R.
Well, I know the original was PG-13, and I think the sequel was too.
Oh, really? I don't know. I thought some of them might have been R, but maybe not. What up, old Darth? Haven't seen that name in a while.
Yeah,
Good to see you.
yeah, damn, man. Well, Darth.
Good to see you. Yeah, just like old times.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm on board for this. I
am too, man. Hook,
I
line,
love the
and
Anaconda franchise just because I'm a silly creature feature fan. And yeah, like you said, Robert and I just reviewed all the Anacondas and all the Lake Placids, including the crossover. So
there's just one crossover then, right?
yeah, Anaconda versus Lake Placid.
Sounds like something Sci-Fi Channel, or was it a little bit elevated?
No, it was
beyond
definitely
that?
Sci-Fi Channel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, absolutely it was. That's when both of them had devolved to cheesy sci-fi bullshit. The first two
Asylum
Anacondas
level,
actually had
kinda.
some. They were both released in theaters, and
Yeah.
they both had some budget behind them. Only the first Lake Placid was released in theaters, so there's a sharper decline, a lot quicker there. But yeah, I'm on board for this. I love
I am
this
too,
idea.
man. Yeah. I say bring it on, especially with the because I
Jamie!
love the ageless Paul Rudd, and Jack Black is just, I mean, whether Tenacious D or whether he's more restrained in something like Shallow Hal, or whether he's just going bonkers, or Bowser, or whatever, man. Yeah, I love Jack Black, and that
This
photo.
is not
that
the
photo-
greatest
this-
anaconda in the world. This
This
is just a
This
tribute.
is just a remake.
Yeah, this is just a remake. Couldn't remember the greatest anaconda in the world. All right, let's see. Steve Mayers, greetings, gentlemen and flick friends. Love your Bad Religion tea. There you go.
Yeah,
Fuego and I
my
are big.
favorite band, man.
Yeah, he loves them. I've always enjoyed them, but I can really only point to songs off of the Gray Race that I love so much.
Oh, well, because it was on Crazy Taxi.
Yep, exactly. Crazy Taxi.
Offspring on that soundtrack too, man.
Dude, how exciting is it that Sega is actually making a new Crazy Taxi?
I didn't know that.
I'm so
That is
Jones.
rad status, dude.
I'm so excited about it.
Yeah, I still
Oh.
remember the original one on Dreamcast, man.
I
was
know,
just
yeah,
going bonkers
Dreamcast
on
was
that,
the shit, dude. I
Dreamcast
love
was the
Dreamcast.
shit, dude. It just came out.
That felt like my first high-end
console.
console.
Yeah, same
You know
with
what I
me.
mean? 'Cause I was Super Nintendo before that for me.
I pre-ordered it.
I was
there
Nintendo my
on the
whole life.
day.
I skipped the PlayStation side of things until PlayStation 2.
Yeah, I was a
PlayStation 2 was my first PlayStation, and I had played a lot of PlayStation games
I was a
because of
Sega
other
guy,
friends.
man. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I was Nintendo
I had a
the whole
Saturn.
way.
Stupid,
But
I
Sega
stupidly had a
Dreamcast,
Saturn.
dude,
Yeah.
when they made the Dreamcast and it was like Soul Calibur 2, Crazy Taxi.
Dude, Sonic Adventure. The
Sonic
speed
Adventure, that
aspect
was
of Sonic
it's
Adventure
still
was
quality.
awesome.
That movie was that game
even
was so
lesser
good.
stuff like Power
Resident
Stone,
Evil Code
Ready to
Veronica.
Rumble. Yeah, it's
Ready to Rumble, yeah.
Ready to Rumble was
Somebody better call the doctor. Dude, we're down nostalgia avenue right now. I
Even
love
lesser
it.
stuff like Blue Stinger, and I mean, that was one of the few launches where I was there. Pre-ordered Babbage's like months before, man. And
My
I was
favorite
like,
Resident Evil game is still, well, before the remakes came out, was always Code Veronica.
Yeah, and
I loved it.
and they leapfrogged
I'm
to
so
4
pissed that
as
they
opposed
did.
to remaking Code Veronica.
Well, now they may go back and do 1 and Code Veronica before they get to the shitty 5 and
Although
6.
they'd already remade 1, remember when they put it on
Well, but
GameCube and stuff.
they didn't do the remake where they
didn't
put it over the shoulder and stuff
alter
like
the game
that.
mechanics.
Right,
all
right,
that,
and bring in the new stuff. Anyway, sidetrack, love it. Speaking of Lake Placid, the other big gator feature that came out recently, or was it Crocs? I don't know, but it was Crawl.
I think it was Crocs in this one. Yeah, based on the part of the country that it was in.
And that was amazing. That was Aja, Alexandra Aja, or Aja.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which it is.
Yeah, he was the remake king for a while, because remember he did The Hills Have Eyes. Oh, damn, what was the other one that he remade? It's eluding me at this particular point.
It wasn't Poltergeist.
No, it wasn't Poltergeist. It was another R-rated property that he remade. But,
shit.
Oh,
They'll tell us.
oh, dude. It was Piranha. It was Piranha 3D.
Oh yeah, duh.
Which
It
we were
was.
just
already
talking
hit on
about.
it. Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
And now he's doing Never Let Go, right? That we just reacted to that.
Halle Berry.
Robert and I
It
yesterday.
looks like
the new trailer.
it's a post-apocalyptic, maybe zombies, maybe not. How
And
much
it looks
is
like
real?
it's mostly quiet, and like it looks like there's gonna be not a lot of dialogue, which I love.
Yeah, and the uncertainty of how much that she's leading her sons to believe is actually true, and I really dig that. So yeah,
Old
that's
Dar
cool.
says, based on your agenda, this is going to be a long show.
Yeah,
That's what tends to happen.
We're prepared. We're prepared.
But yeah, I am really excited about this. I thought the first crawl was awesome,
I did too.
intense,
Yeah.
thrilling, and I love water films, like flood stuff. Like Bait is one of my favorite
the
shark movies.
the Australian shark
it's
one, right?
the parking garage in a grocery store flood, and it's a great white shark,
which we
stalking,
reviewed here
and
on the channel.
Love those movies, love that, and a good croc/alligator movies are almost few and far between. Like there's a good amount of them out there, but you have to go to Rogue, and then you have to go to
Was that
like
the one
there's,
with Sam? What's his face from Avatar? I'm trying to remember. I think he was
Sam Worthington.
Sam Worthington.
I'm not sure. I think
Or maybe
Rogue
he
is
was
the
in
one
Bait.
that had the main guy from Alias.
Okay.
I don't remember what his name is off the top of my head.
I
But
didn't
yeah,
watch
it was
Alias.
Rogue, and then there was another one that came out, and then a third one that was basically the alligator equivalent of the Reef, that had Black Lake, was it?
Blackwater?
Blackwater, yeah. Blackwater
which they
had
did a
one and
sequel
two,
to,
yeah.
which wasn't quite
Blackwater
as
one was really
satisfying.
good, yeah. So
because Blackwater.
but
2,
besides Rogue, there was one other really good
Mm-hmm.
giant croc movie too.
I know some people have that soft
What up,
spot
Dr.
for
Death?
the 79, 80, the original Alligator. Where
I love those movies, and when I was
yeah.
a kid,
Yeah, they're
because that's
fun.
the closest we got to giant things eating people.
Yeah,
you
because
know?
that was the whole that old legend, urban legend, I should specify
Alligators
about
in the
fact.
sewer?
Yeah, exactly. When you flush the little gator down the toilet, and it's going to grow down there and
Yep.
all that. So,
Yep.
but yeah, man, this is a film that even recently Quentin Tarantino was praising it as one of his favorite genre films from the last,
Nice.
like 5 or 10 years. He's like, I love that movie, and he was like, I'm so glad that Alexander's coming back to actually direct it, because there'd been reports that there was a script sequel floating around, and yet they didn't know if he was going to be able to sign on and work it out. But the fact that he's coming back, man,
It's a legitimate thrill ride.
more power to him, man. Yeah.
Legitimate thrill ride, and I'm excited for more. So
Well, and even in that first one, I like the fact that they gave some explanation. She was like an Olympic aspiring swimmer, and then
yeah. So do you want her to come back, or do you just want another crocodile flood scenario?
I could
'Cause that's
flip-
all I care about.
I could flip flop, man. Yeah. I don't think her.
I'm not
return
so
is
attached to
necessarily-
her that I need to have her back.
Yeah, and also
And it's like we don't need to John McClane her.
that was what, dude. You beat me to it. I was just about to say it. I'm just like, we don't need the super easy, barely an inconvenience. We'll just have another.
Yeah.
You just encounter the same situation again. It's like winning the lottery twice, or lightning striking, or something like that. So
Come back out to Florida, have a few laughs.
Yeah. That's why I liked With a Vengeance so much, because it directly tied with the first film, and it made a lot more sense.
Yeah,
as
the
opposed to-
third one is easily better than the second one.
Yeah,
I
although-
personally will say the third one's better than the first one. That's just me. That's just me. The first one is an absolute classic.
The dynamic
but the third
with
one is
Samuel
so
L.
strong
Jackson is really
the
awesome,
whole way
though.
through. Yeah.
Yeah.
Primeval, yes, thank you, Jamie.
There
That's exactly
it
the one I was
is.
thinking of.
Yeah.
Yes, I knew there was Rogue and Primeval. Both of those were really good. Primeval also, as just another offshoot, a really great show that was on Sci-Fi that was a BBC show about
It was also
a group
called
that
Primeval,
was
right?
Yeah,
It was a
group-
dinosaur
Yeah,
show?
exactly. They found the
Yeah. I
technology
saw a
and
few
like
time traveling?
like ripple gates in time would allow dinosaurs to escape into our time, and this team had to go and retrieve the dinosaurs and get them back into their time or kill them and stuff. So it was. Sorry, another sidetrack.
No.
Witness
you're good,
Protection.
you're
I've only seen the one that was in color. I never saw the original Nosferatu. Someone else brought up. Jeff N brought up Nosferatu.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I mean, we'll get to it shortly, but
Well,
yeah.
no, there's nothing in Nosferatu on here.
Oh, you omitted it. Okay.
Which one was the Nosferatu story?
No, maybe it was just new images that were coming
Yeah,
up for it
I
or
didn't-
something.
I ignored new images and I ignored
doesn't-
casting.
Doesn't really warrant.
Casting, I don't really,
Yeah, no, I mean...
we have 20 stories without those. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah, totally. No, I'm super stoked, especially with Robert Eggers doing it. I mean, just his gothic sensibilities, I think, really make a lot of sense for that.
He's 1 for 2
And-
for me, but I'm
Yeah,
still
I
on
didn't-
board.
Yeah, I didn't like The Lighthouse that much,
No,
but
me neither.
I liked... I loved the
They'll be
Vitch,
say
and
we don't get it.
yeah, and even though it was well, there's lots of stuff that I get of that similar experimental sort of vibe. That one just didn't work as much for me. And then The Northman, you know, it was a little derivative for my taste, but I still liked it.
I enjoyed that.
You know?
That was a fun action bit.
Yeah, but I personally prefer the 70s version of Nosferatu to the original, but
I've never seen either.
Yeah, it's like appreciating the 80s thing versus the 50s thing, or same with the Blob, or same with some of these properties that were remade in the 70s and 80s from their original source material that I think with new technology and then they improved upon them. But, you know, it doesn't always happen. So.
All right, so that's story number 3.
Yeah.
Moving on to number 4. James Wan in talks to helm the Creature from the Black Lagoon remake.
Yeah, he's spearheading this. You know, he really, this is a passion project of his, and
I'm curious. I never watched the original.
Huh?
I gotta say. Well, you know that I'd never seen all
that's
the original monsters.
Yeah, that's right. You were doing those with Susie, right?
Yep. I've seen like the first 4 of them. I still haven't seen Creature, and I still haven't seen one other one. I can't.
Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah, I haven't seen Bride yet.
Which a lot of people contend is better than the original Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
there's some cool queer undertones that are very interesting.
But I wasn't the biggest fan of Shape of Water, which was, you know, Guillermo del Toro's sort of updated creature story.
Which, and you know, not to rehash other people that we look up to and listen to, but Mark Bernardin actually reminded me when I was listening to them talk about this story, the fact that Guillermo del Toro was trying to remake The Creature from the Black Lagoon, and then he wasn't able to, and so that's why he went and made The Shape of Water. You know, which was more like weird, you know,
bestiality.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't going to outright say it, you know. I think Kevin Smith was like the fish fuckers or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That was a beautifully
it
was a beautifully made movie, and I really liked Michael Shannon, and because I like Michael Shannon in anything. But yeah, that movie didn't really scratch the full on sort of horror itch that I think if James Wan does this properly. But I feel like as Atomic Monster has become expanding more so and more so, I've been a little less about his stuff. You know, I didn't really like...
He hasn't had that much direct involvement in a lot of stuff. He's a lot of producing.
Well, I didn't really like *Malignant* very much.
Yeah,
you know, and I didn't like the Aquaman sequel that much.
No, I agree.
So it's been a minute since he's done something that I was just like, damn. But you are right. I mean, he oversees *Insidious*. He oversees *The Conjuring*, which, you know, both of those being... you know, 2 of his babies.
I'd like
along
another
with
Dead
Saw.
Silence movie. That's what I like.
Dude, the end scene with the
good.
person as the puppet is great
So
shit.
good.
So if this is one that he is directing, and he's not going to go PG-13, he's going to go full visceral, much more horror from what the reports are saying. I mean, he's a good director. You know, it's certain scripting issues, because I still thought *Malignant* was well directed. I appreciated it from that standpoint, but I don't know, the camp in that one, that it's another movie where people have told me I didn't get it, and I'm like, oh no, I got what they were going for, and it just wasn't for me.
Yeah, same with me.
Yeah. So, I don't know, they're slowly, him and his buddy Lee Winnell, you know, from Saw, they both seem to be kind of taking up the mantle of this Universal Monsters verse, because Lee Winnell's doing the new Wolfman.
I've seen some good buzz about that, actually, from people that have seen parts of it now.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like the lead actor in the Wolfman, in this new Wolfman, and you've got Garner, Judy Garner, I want to say, who's in the new Apartment 7A, the prequel for Rosemary's Baby, and I know she was very popular on the TV show that she did with Jason Bateman. I don't think I ever watched it, but in any event, yeah, man, I mean, back to this story, though, James Wan doing this property, if he's going to make it visceral, if he is going to go more horror... but there's still, if you're going to be true to the source material, it has to have like a misunderstood sort of love story associated with it. So, yeah,
and he has to not look silly. That's going to be
I mean,
tough.
for the time, I guess it was fine.
I mean, he's remaking it, so they're going to have to include that stuff. But I really wish that he could just make his own version of a creature horror movie, but
instead of just going back to the well and remaking an older property. Yeah, well, I mean, he finds financing from Universal through this, as opposed to, although they did merge with Blumhouse recently, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, Blumhouse and Atomic Monster, they're in unison. So yeah, who knows? Yeah, we shall see.
There you go, story number 4.
So this next one, man, this is where
I am so excited about this.
I'm so excited for this, but the thing, it makes me wonder if it's a too little, too late sort of thing.
Why?
Well, because of the fact that the zombie craze was a number of years ago, and now it's kind of died out a little bit.
As zombies,
well, it's rage virus, so it's very much like, what was the what was the it was an Eastern Asian film.
The Sadness.
The Sadness was, in my estimation, this movie.
Yeah, agreed.
You know, as far as
but it
the
was
sexual
done
aspect.
in Korea, I think. And so I want to see
it was
an
either
American
Korea
one.
or Japan. I'm trying to remember, but yeah, inconsequential. The
Yeah.
Sadness was a little underwhelming for me, honestly.
It might have been Japan. You're right.
You know, but it was a little underwhelming. I thought the gore and stuff was cool. The narrative, in and of itself, left a bit to be desired. Now, Garth Ennis has seen his share of significant success with The Boys recently, you know?
And I think that is what's opening the door.
Probably.
Clearly that's what's opening the door. And the nice thing is we see the craziness that... Sorry, I don't mean to keep touching your leg.
No,
it's
I
just
like it.
right there. Oh, God. But I love that the audience has embraced The Boys the way that they have. So much
More
so
so
that
than
Gen
Preacher,
V... Yeah,
you know?
so much so that Gen V... And they went further than Preacher did, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But Gen V is a whole separate thing, and they went crazy with that, and now that's getting a second season too.
And they had the animated little thing that I never watched.
Diabolical.
Yeah.
Those were great. Those are awesome. Very worth your time. So I love that they're like, okay, so this crazy over the top stuff, we can not only can we actually get away with it on your Prime or your Max, but the audience embraces it because no one else is doing it. And Crossed, again, I feel like The Sadness only blew up the way that it did because of how far that it went.
Oh, yeah.
You know, there's the
It was the
eye
selling
socket,
point on social media.
The eye socket fucking scene is directly out of Crossed, you know? Like, Crossed gets even crazier than that on an issue-by-issue basis.
Yeah, and actually
you
Crossed...
see the cover. This is a cover.
Yeah.
Of
Crossed,
the,
in my
the
estimation,
book.
got crazier after Ennis handed it off to other people to continue it on. It got even wilder, in my estimation. I still remember the one where they crashed in the Everglades was just gnarly. Yeah, it explores... It's very much... If you guys aren't familiar with the property, think Romero's The Crazies, but far more sexually deviant, you know?
Yeah.
They're not just
They'll
going to
kill
rip
you
you up
and then
and kill
fuck
you.
your corpse.
Yeah,
They'll
or
fuck
while you're
body
still...
parts.
Yeah, or while you're still alive. I mean, it is like as pushing the envelope with gore and sexual deviancy as you can think.
Some of the pages which are drawn by this artist, God, I wish I could think of his name off the top of my head, but he did some of the Freddy comics and some of the Jason comics and some of the Leatherface comics. I know he did some of the Freddy comics and at least some of the covers of the other, but he is the guy that will do a full cover like this, a wraparound cover, they're called a splash page inside the book, right?
What I was
so
thinking,
two-page splash page where it's just wall to wall. It's like Where's Waldo, except it's carnage, and like you literally take time to scan the page to take in all the awful that's given to you.
It's
for
unsettling
me,
as hell, man.
for me, dollar for dollar, the Crossed comics give you more than every other comic book that's being made because you literally can scan through those pages and get like many more minutes of enjoyment than a typical comic where you see the panel, you move on, you see the panel, you move on.
Yeah, where it's much more story driven.
Yeah, this is crazy awesome where you like want to take in, because this particular artist especially will go in like Waldo and do all of the detail of each of the people that are getting destroyed or decimated or ripped in half, and then there's I know that there's a moment where one of the Crossed uses the severed arm to fist another person and stuff. Like it's crazy. Crazy. And how crazy? Crossed Family Values, I looked up right now, the ongoing series is over 80 issues.
I didn't know that.
It's like I don't know if it's still going, but it went for years.
Yeah,
and
I have
years.
the first 7 or 8 trades.
I
want to say, up to around the clown.
I do intend to get them all.
Yeah,
I do intend to get them all and finish the story, just because it's Jason Burrows was one of the main creators, and he went on to do bigger things for the big. He's worked for the big 2, doing artwork. I know
DC,
he's done
Marvel,
some DC stuff. But yeah, he grinded his teeth on Crossed, and fuck, it's just such an entertaining. It's like Walking Dead amped to 11.
Oh, it definitely was. It was almost reactionary. It's Ennis loves just.
There's probably
the boys,
30 volumes
Preacher.
of Crossed total when you include all of the sub because there's a lot of other, like, there's Cross Family Values, Cross Badlands. Sorry, it's Badlands that's up to 80 issues.
Okay.
Family Values was like a 7-issue series.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I didn't remember that being something like
Badlands,
like an ongoing. I thought it was a maxi series.
Badlands is up to
like
like 80 issues.
Yeah, but I mean,
Eddie Z, if you haven't heard of it or read it, pick up. Just get the first volume of
just
Crossed.
the first one, which Garth wrote himself.
Garth Ennis wrote it. Jason Burrows did the artwork, and you'll fall in love with the depravity just like we did.
Yeah, exactly. Because like the depravity that Garth brought to projects like Preacher and The Boys, this is him in a rage virus zombie-ish sort of setting, you know? Yeah. I mean, because he's done more restrained stuff. Like, I love Just a Pilgrim. It's much more restrained, Garth Ennis, and he did all the World War II stuff, and he's done some sci-fi here and there. But when he really cuts loose and is trying to, like, outdo himself with his nastiness, Crossed is definitely, and I've done this, Crossed is a very easy cosplay.
I was going to say, then people understand your cosplay after all these years. Like, I always knew what it was, and that's one of the early things we bonded over too. Yeah. I knew that your Crossed cosplay was Crossed.
Yeah.
And it's
I love Garth Ennis, man. And even though, so they're saying in reports, so he's apparently teaming with an indie distributor called Six Studios for this, and so this is not going to be, whereas Preacher was on AMC and Prime is Amazon money behind The Boys.
Really?
I mean,
maybe he has to do it the way they want to.
Yeah, and it's also so he wrote the script for this, which is an even bigger thing.
Awesome.
He wrote the script himself. I'm not sure if it's like using source material from any of the comics, whether himself or otherwise, but it's supposedly going to be a film. And that's at least the current form that it's in. And this was not some...
That's a great buy-in.
Yeah, and this was a THR report. This was not some smaller little outlet or whatever.
But they could easily do a film introduction and then transition to a series the way things...
Or
Look
a
at
series
Dune.
of...
There's a Dune series now. There's a fucking Penguin series based on the Batman.
I'm stoked about that, man.
Do one movie and then launch a series.
The day before my birthday, a week before yours. It starts on the 19th.
When they see the response to a Crossed movie... They will have no choice but to buy into it. They will do not only one Cross series, they will do a spin-off Cross series after season 1. I guarantee.
I hope so.
It would easily eclipse. Okay, I don't know that it would eclipse. Like, it feels like it's Crossed is essentially The Boys and Walking Dead's
thrown in a
baby.
blender.
You know what I mean? So, like, it might surpass them both viewership-wise. I don't know. Or it might be a little less than both.
Yeah, I mean, there's
because superheroes is super broad, zombies is super broad. Yeah. When you just get super crazy over the top zombie stuff, like, I feel like there's still a big audience for that.
No, I mean, The Sadness was very well respected and got a lot of notoriety when it first came out. But yeah, man, Garth Ennis is one of my favorite comic writers, and I'm incredibly stoked about this. I hope it does come to fruition, but it's beyond an idea just bouncing around if THR is reporting upon it. So.
Next story is just a quick one, but one that I and Marsha Parker are quite excited
this is one that
about.
I can speak less to. So these are, are these characters from the original movie?
Katie and Micah were in part 1 and part 2, and they cameoed in one of the later installments as well. They are the anchors to the series, at least for the first few movies.
Yeah, because the later ones I've watched where they were going to like the Amish community. And
completely separate.
It's its own thing.
But they in the Amish one, they even had a picture of Katie in there, like Katie's family, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. So they've kept sort of tethered to it. But yeah, I'm excited to bring them back. Like, if it's them specifically that are being, haunted once again, like, yes, bring that, like, good legacy sequel for Paranormal Activity. Let's do it.
And yet it's in a podcast setting, if I'm remembering the story correctly. Yeah, because I'm trying
to... Wait, what?
Because I'm trying to bring...
new film.
Okay, because I'm trying to bring this up.
I have it pulled up here, too. Well, I can pull up your news real quick. Oh, wait, you don't think you sent it to me as one of them. I put that in myself.
Oh, I could have sworn that I did. Okay.
No. Yeah, so... I don't know if you want to try and pull up the news.
Yeah, I can.
Google.
I'll look real quick.
But justice for Micah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Micah did, unfortunately, buy it at one point.
Was that in the second film there?
Yeah,
or was
I think
that,
so.
Because, it's been so long since I've even watched the first one, man. Damn. Well,
that's all right. We're good. Hope it's good, says Dr. Death. Yeah, I agree. Oh, I have to check out Crossed ASAP. I hope it's good.
Oh, Crossed is rad.
Crossed,
status.
Trust us. You're not going to have a problem.
I mean, it's not for
Crossed.
the faint. It's not for the faint of stomach, though. It's all kinds of depraved.
I actually have them all right here.
Yeah.
Robert's going to be angry at me for ruining his set. But
It just does. It does make me wonder a little bit, how the Cross thing will actually go, because a lot of people would probably say, even though Preacher did get 4 seasons, it was kind of 1 for 2 in some people's minds as far as Ennis adaptations, because of the fact that whereas The Boys has been, in some cases considered by those even better than the source material, and I would even contend that. Preacher, not so much.
Anyway. So yeah, there's not much to say about this one, but just going back to the Crossed here. So this is volume 1 right here.
Yeah, that's the one Garth wrote.
Garth Ennis and Jason Burrows.
You can see
you can see the crazy. They have just people hanging in the background there,
and the red splotch cross is kind of the differentiating
that's the calling
thing.
Card, of the Crossed. That's how you know who to avoid. This is cover of. This is Crossed Family Values. Yep. So this was written by David Lapham, who is a crime writer that's very good. He's written some Batman. And then there's Crossed Psychopath, which has a cool cover as well. Dude dancing with a corpse.
Yeah.
And then there's...
Yep, I remember that one.
This is just Crossed Volume 4. Oh, this is Into the Badlands. But
and
Garth
that
Ennis
had
returned for that.
Garth wrote a story
Garth
in this
and
collection.
Jason did this one, yeah. And then it goes
that's the clown
to
one,
the
and
clown.
I think that's about as far as
this
I
is
went.
volume 5. Yep, this is Crossed volume 5. Crazy Clown.
Yep.
This is a great cover though. Volume 6. All the nastiness.
Yes, indeed.
And then Badlands starts. Oh no, yeah, volume 7 is where Badlands starts. Right here with the beefy fireman Crossed. And then, this is a cool cover too. I need to do a reread of all these to cover them for...
Yeah, I was going to say, I haven't gone that far into the series, unfortunately.
Hang on, I'm almost done. Oh, that's a good one. This is also Badlands.
Dang.
Looks a little Attack on Titan-ish.
Yeah, so we wait.
Oh, another just Cross. And then... here's a separate one. Crossed Wish You Were Here is a separate series that came out. And then last is Crossed 100, which takes place 100 years after the Crossed virus happens.
So it's obviously still raging.
But this is written by Alan fucking Moore. So
I did not know he wrote a Cross story. Yeah. Damn, dude.
Well, and this is only volume 1. Crossed 100 went for like 3 volumes. But yeah, Alan Moore wrote this. Oh, let me see if I can find the artist that did...
Sorry, I'm trying to find the date on something here.
Jason Rose, David Hine, Lapham. Yeah, he just did some covers, I think. But anyway, that's Crossed.
I know Moore has gone a little off the deep end over the years, but
yeah,
still,
he has, but he's still writing talent. All right,
okay, cool.
Nolan says already reading it. Okay, all right. So let's move on to story number
nice.
7. Story number 7 is that we got new Jurassic World details, which is basically that they're calling it Jurassic World Rebirth.
Yeah, which kind of makes sense.
We saw the first image of Scarlet as well as the first image of Mahershala Ali.
Yep,
as
the
he
Blade,
is like holding a
if he
flare.
ever plays Blade.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm excited about Rebirth. Jurassic World movies are never not going to make $1 million or $1 billion.
Yeah, because even if Dominion made $1 billion, which I was very, very disappointed in that one, especially since it was like all the Super Friends coming together, you know, the older cast and the newer cast, and I was just very, very hopeful for that one. But just focusing upon the locusts and everything, I did like that extended cut they put on Peacock a little bit more.
Yeah,
but yeah, this one, I mean, ScarJo being attached, and Mahershala. What's the other big selling point? The fact that Gareth Edwards is directing, dude, and I love the creator. Even though they didn't show enough Godzilla, I liked that movie at points, and Rogue One, even if he didn't see the process entirely through because he ended up getting fired by Disney. I still think he's a very talented director, and I think this is a property that's like totally in his wheelhouse as far as what he really excels at putting together.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, and it's coming out July 2nd of next year. So they've already finished principal photography from what I understand, and so they're already in the edit bay, which is why they were throwing this out. So they are streamlining this. I know another person who's very forgiving of this series is our buddy Jason Smith. He loves his Jurassic movies.
Dude, I even love the cartoons. The new Jurassic World.
I haven't watched it yet.
The Camp Cretaceous extension is really good.
I heard a certain character voiced by a certain Wednesday Addams without spoiling anything.
There's a surprise cameo in the last episode.
Oh, so did they get through the second season of the sequel series yet?
No, just the first season.
Okay, because they
play the whole
second one,
they play the whole first season as though the character's dead, and then you find out at the very end that maybe not so much.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
and they brought her back just for that. So I was like, oh, cool.
I guess they've done that with a few characters.
I mean, it just was because of schedule. It was because she was shooting Wednesday that she couldn't do it. So
okay, so now
I didn't even realize it was her until I found that out.
She was the influencer Madison or whatever.
Was it Madison? Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. Okay, Brooklyn. Yeah. I knew it was like the name of a town or something. But, yeah.
Are they crossing over with Fast and Furious? No, a lot of people want them to do that, but there's no way they ever will ruin the IP that way.
Well, I mean, if they're under the same umbrella, right? They're both Universal, aren't they?
Yeah, but they still won't. They won't sell the IP that way.
I mean, I guess they've done when it comes to the crossover that's been mentioned recently with the Transformers and G.I. Joe.
Well, they're both
Mattel, right?
And in the end of the last Transformers movie, G.I. Joe shows up and they have the card. Yeah.
In the
I'm about that. I think that'll be a fun movie. Eddie D says long legs are cuckoo. Strange Darling. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, 100% Strange Darling.
Between those two, though.
Those two,
for me.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on.
Yeah, the more I've distanced myself from Long Legs, I find myself liking it even less. But,
get on my level. Crystal Lake TV series gets a new showrunner. I am not familiar with this dude's work. Do you know?
That's why I was trying to bring up the article real quick. I mean, the big thing was that, remember, Brian Fuller was originally behind this.
And I was on board for that.
Oh, supremely on board, man. And, I mean, also the fact that Kevin Williamson had scripted an episode where he said it was going to be entirely in the snow and it was going to be nothing but one big, long chase scene and how he was just so just happy with the idea of it and everything. But, the fact that it's living on as opposed to being completely dead in the water is sorry guys, the only thing is that since I don't have the actual story order, I send a bunch of potential stories to Cecil, and then it gets a little reformatted when we're going on. So yeah, it's still being put together by A24, presumably for Peacock and everything.
Okay. So it's Brad Caleb Kane, who is doing It Welcome to Derry.
Yeah, which
as
is the
new
Max prequel series.
Cool. Well, I mean, hopefully cool, because I'm excited about that.
I mean, it's really more so than anything with the Welcome to Derry show, the fact that Andy Muschietti is as heavily involved. He's directing a few episodes of the show, which is very encouraging and stuff. And plus, I mean, with the Stephen King source material, you have so much that you can comb from with all of those little flashbacks with Mike Hanlon and everything. So, but
expect the direction to change completely.
Yeah, because they said they were scrapping everything, almost
really?
Like what they
so they're not doing the prequel series at all.
Well, I mean, they
haven't given any Crystal Lake. Then?
Well, they haven't given any indications about what the new direction or approach would be. But the fact that it's almost like with Daredevil Born Again, where they had filmed a bunch of stuff and then they just threw it all out, scrapped all the scripts, brought on new showrunners, and it's going to be just a completely new. So it's at least encouraging that they weren't willing to just completely throw away the concept and abandon it. That they're still trying to find somebody who's a little more along the lines. But from the comments at Brian Fuller, I mean, Hannibal being one of his most noteworthy things that he's put together, I think, which I still haven't finished, unfortunately. I love Mads Mikkelsen, man.
So good.
Yeah, I mean, how much are they going to vanilla it? How much are they trying to... Was it too artsy of an approach? I just don't really know. I mean, and the fact that they still have to go through these avenues because there's all of those legal battles amongst amongst those who started up this property. I just really Yeah, it's a little disappointing, in all honesty, that we can't get another Jason film, and we have to rely on TV series and this start-stop method that seems to be continuing.
I think it's going to be worth the wait for people once it gets going. I don't think they'll waste $85 million on trash, but I've been wrong about that before. So
yeah.
All right, next story is Poltergeist TV series in development at Amazon Studios.
Yes.
I liked Poltergeist. I am one of the few people that liked the Poltergeist remake in 2000 and whatever, 17, 18.
Yeah, it was around, and you and I and Marcia reviewed it, if I remember
maybe 16.
correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't they also have a Poltergeist television series, but it was more of like a spooky detective show?
I don't remember.
Yeah. I remember watching some of the episodes in syndication of it, but it was like Poltergeist: The Legacy or something like that. But yeah, I mean, once again. Noteworthy IPs, and they're just going back to it. This will apparently be something that's going to be on that MGM Plus streaming service that they have, which I know is available on Amazon because Amazon bought MGM a few years ago. Trying to originally the 82 film, no plot details, so we don't know if it's going to be a full-on remake or if it's just going to like delve within the lore that was explored. I mean, that was one of the first that had like the whole. It was that in Amityville they were doing Indian burial grounds and presences below the surface of those who had been killed. I'm trying to find some additional details in this variety story.
Yeah, there's not a ton in there.
Yeah, the original film proved to be successful, so on and so forth. 2 sequels. I know people have some mixed feelings about the sequels where they brought on the creepy like pastor preacher sort of dude.
I like that sequel.
Dude, I was gonna say he unnerved me a lot more in that second film than I felt, than I felt rewatching. Okay, Amazon, blah blah blah. Okay, so there was a series on Showtime called Poltergeist: The Legacy, and so it was just, and they reran it on the Sci-Fi Channel through the 90s, and so that's probably where I had seen it. So, I mean, once again, going back to noteworthy IPs and everything, and man, the amount of pop-ups on Variety are just
crazy,
out of control. So, yeah, I'm all for it since I enjoy the property, and I feel like there is enough lore as far as the distinction between a ghost and a poltergeist, which has been explored in different films over the years, as far as one is something that was from here and the other thing is something coming from an alternate dimension of like demonic whateverness. And so yeah, I mean, Amazon's original stuff, whether with MGM Plus, I mean, I'm trying to think what else was on MGM Plus, which formerly had a different name. I want to say They or Them, or it's an ongoing show. It's very Stephen King influenced. I want to say it's called They. Anyway.
Yeah.
There you go, guys. Sorry.
All right. Next story is Netflix orders a new Ghostbusters animated series. Which, okay.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down because I love the real Ghostbusters and even the extreme Ghostbusters to a lesser degree, where they were trying to appeal to the radical 90s contingent of kids and everything. Tried to make them seem a little bit cooler.
Oh, From is what we're talking about.
From, that's what it was. Yeah, I knew somebody was going to correct me.
I've tried to watch that series twice. I've gotten 4 episodes in both times, and I just haven't finished it. But I've been wanting to go back to it because it's a creature movie. But
well, and also the King comparisons are because they're like trapped in a town, and they can't escape.
I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so I just need to give it a more serious try.
Yeah, totally.
I've been trying Evil.
It just wrapped up its final season, and Stephen King went to bat on his Twitter or X or whatever, saying how it needs another season. He loves the show.
It's fun. It's cool.
Yeah. I've heard some people say it's got a little bit of a supernatural sort of vibe to it.
Yeah,
at least as far as like Creature of the Week and different things.
It's
overarching evil.
They're trying to prove or disprove different things, like
because it's science versus religion on that show.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so it's really interesting. I dig it. I like
that approach too.
But yeah, I'm on board for this. I love the real Ghostbusters. I wish we got a version, like a scary version of that version of the Boogeyman.
You and I talked about that when we first met.
Man,
and got
I love that
Boogeyman.
Boogeyman. Boogeyman is so incredible.
He was like evil
and
punk
his world,
rock Boogeyman.
Yeah, and his world is so awesome, and it's like, with all the doors, very little monsters kind of thing, and I love that. So, but Netflix, I enjoy a lot of Netflix animation. Castlevania's been great.
Yeah. We were just
the
talking
Blood
about
of Zeus is
Cretaceous.
good. I haven't watched all of the second season yet. Well, no, I think it'll be more like standard animation rather than CG animation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just their handling of animation in general, I think, is pretty good. Yeah, I liked the Witcher thing that they did.
Yeah, that was good.
I thought was good as well. So I mean, I don't know if this would skew towards more adulty animation, but push the PG-13, make it scary as opposed to Fallen Empire is one of those. Frozen Empire, I should say, is one of those where the more I've thought about that film, the less I like it. Unfortunately,
yeah, it's not good.
It's not good. It's not good, especially like
the comic that bridges the first and second movie is awful. Also, so I have to cover that on my TikTok sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so this doesn't surprise me. Dan Aykroyd still needs to eat, and besides his vodka and everything, he milks this franchise, man. I still haven't played the newest video game that they put out. I saw it was on sale on Xbox recently at the Microsoft Store.
I got the
It's
remastered
more of like a
one.
team game.
Yeah, no, I haven't played that. But.
Yeah, Spirit something. Anyway, I mean, I have. I'm not going to go as far as to say faith, but I have confidence Netflix will do this some justice, regardless of whether it's our original cast or other people or whatever. So.
All right, next story, cruising right along.
This is one I didn't incorporate because I saw it floating around. And
yeah, I'm not sure how much we can rely on this. Supposedly, there's a prequel Loomis concept in the work for Halloween people, but I just wanted to put in there in case it is true. If it's not, sorry, but it's big news if so.
I laughed when I saw Jason Smith mentioning this, and he's just like going home from the office or going home from the hospital or something like that. But if you did explore the fact that, okay, he's had Michael and he's been monitoring Michael, and who knows if Michael maybe as an adolescent, a little bit older,
I don't think it
a
needs to be
teenager,
Michael. I think
or
it could just be some other crazy
weird
cases
shit
that he's done.
that he dealt with. Yeah, that too. You don't have to live in the confines
let's let
of
Michael
the Myers
rest for a while,
sort of. Yeah.
Like maybe the first season would end with young Michael Myers killing his family, and there's a new case he has to take on.
Okay, so he had a situation that kind of prepared him for the big shit that he was about to.
Right,
okay.
Something else that's borderline supernatural kind of thing.
If they approach it like that, the key thing is going to be the casting of a young Loomis. I mean, that would be just as crucial as can be. Mm-hmm. So, and I liked Malcolm McDowell in the zombie remake, and I mean, I can't say that any of the incarnations I've been of the character I've been super thumbs down on, but yeah.
All right, let's move on. Trying to cruise through this a little bit faster here.
Yeah.
And
this is one that doesn't really warrant a supreme amount, but it's still pretty cool.
Yeah, Ty West's X trilogy is getting a series of novelizations, and being that we've gotten away from novelizations for a number of years now, I think that's a cool throwback.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons why they have gotten away from them is because there are often contradictions, between the script and because I've heard from countless people about the fact that the Jaws 2 novelization, for instance, is way cooler than the actual film, although I still have a soft spot for Jaws 2.
Yeah, me too.
The film itself.
Well, I disagree that it's way cooler. I watched a YouTube deep dive on it, and it's just that they add...
I've seen some people
They just add the mob element that they took out of the first movie back into the second movie.
Oh, geez, so it's more like a rehash almost of...
It's more mob drama while the shark is doing all of its stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. Well,
but
the whole duality aspect. I'm just trying to bring up the name of the author for this.
Yeah, I don't see a reason to read these myself. I'll just stick with the movies, but I'm happy they exist because then a movie that I do want to see a novelization for, hopefully we'll get one.
Yeah. Now we didn't actually discuss at least very much, and so Maxine, you weren't quite as big into.
I thought it was still good. I liked it better than Pearl, but not as much as X.
Okay. I mean, one of the biggest things that I dig about this is the covers themselves were striking to me because I'm a big fan of the hard case crime releases, which are very much, like noir, detective stories, things of that nature. The old pulpy paperbacks. And that was immediately what, stuck out to me. And it's kind of a vibe that I think can work with this series, I mean, maybe more so with Pearl and with Maxine than with... with the whole, porn angle of X. But, still, dude, I love the cover art. It reminds me of stuff that King did with the company, hard case crime like Joyland. And, I don't know. It's just a cool concept, although it does seem more like maybe fluff novelty than something that is like essential for
Yeah,
fans of
yeah.
the series, you
I
know.
agree.
And it does make me wonder how much collaboration Ty West will have with the person who's doing the adaptation, like if he's personally giving notes or if he's just like, hey, here's my script and run with it and flesh out some additional details. So
Joseph, I haven't heard anything about a Halloween show that's coming out on Peacock. There is no Halloween show in the works for Peacock.
not on Peacock, no.
Is there a Halloween show in the works somewhere else?
I mean, Loomis, it's what you were just
well,
talking
no,
about.
that's not. The Loomis.
Peacock, I mean, maybe they're getting
Loomis
it
is rumors. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
nothing official.
Yeah, maybe this person is getting the Friday show, Crystal
Maybe.
Lake, confused,
Yeah,
because
maybe
that's
he's
the one
thinking of
that's
Crystal Lake.
supposedly going to be on Peacock. I'm
Yeah.
wondering if it ever debuts over there. So,
All right, so story number 13 is In a Violent Nature 2 has already been greenlit.
yeah, this was not in the stories I sent over to you, but I can understand why you included it, because it is one of those unsung, kind
A lot of people loved it. It's a new slasher, a new property, even
I
though
guess.
it's homage-y.
I guess. The stomach kill was great. It might beat out Terrifier for the. Well, we haven't seen Terrifier 3, so what the hell
Yeah.
am I to say?
Nope,
you
not
know?
yet. Soon.
Yeah, because Terrifier 2 was last year or the year before or whatever. But so yeah, that's in contention for the most gnarly kill that I've seen the entire year. But it just didn't bring enough new to the table for me, man. I mean, we're walking and we're walking and we're walking, and I understand that it was a very deliberate choice from an artistic standpoint, but I didn't like the other characters. I don't think you were necessarily supposed to, so that's fine. I respected aspects of it, but I was not over the moon for this. But it made enough money, it got enough buzz, and it was made for very little. So, bring on the sequel, I guess.
I mean, it gives them an opportunity to correct the weak aspects and improve on the strong ones still. So
Yeah.
I'm excited about the fact that there's a sequel. More slashers, please. I'll take it, especially
if they're being
ones
well
that
put
are supernatural and ones that are
Yeah.
commenting on the genre while they're playing. I'm
Which
all
this
about
one
that.
kind of was. So,
Yeah,
so maybe
I
it
agree.
was poking fun at the fact that, they just plot around. There's no running. There's no, because in his case, I mean, risen from the dead, like Jason Lives 6, right? It was Friday 6. So, yeah, this movie borrowed a lot from Friday the 13th. It was, I'm not going to say rip off, but it was as homage as homages can get.
Yeah.
But it had some cool kills, and I will give them the buzzsaw scene alone with how slow and drawn out.
That was great.
And very, like, that made it almost more disturbing, the fact that it was as drawn out as it actually was.
I like that. I like the shed kill better than the crazy kill. All right, so moving on from there, story number 14 is that Brandy apparently wants to return in the I Know What You Did Last Summer reboot.
Yeah, because she was in I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, the one that had Jack Black as the stoner Jamaican, which has some casting there, guys. But the only thing that makes me wonder, I know she's getting her feet wet with acting again, or dipping the toe with the front room from Robert Eggers' siblings. It's an A24 release, so A24. I mean, that adds some prestige to however her performances and stuff. But I mean, the fact that we still don't even have Mr. Michelle Gellar in this new one confirmed yet. We don't even know if Jennifer Love Hewitt's going to come back. Obviously, she's just
Michelle Gellar's dead, but Freddie Prinze and her could come back.
Oh,
Sarah Michelle Gellar was killed in the first movie.
Oh, I know that. I was just speaking about Freddie Prinze Jr. I should have
okay.
just that. Freddie Prinze Jr. No, that's not even his name. What the hell is her husband's name?
Yeah, it's Freddie Prinze Jr.
Okay, I'm getting confused with Ryan Felipe. Thank you, News
Oh,
with Booze.
yeah.
I'm just getting the names of the dudes.
Not
in
Ryan
that.
Felipe. No.
Yeah. So, anyway, Freddie Prinze Jr. Was in those first two movies, right, along with Jennifer Love Hewitt. From what I understand, neither of them have even been confirmed for this film.
No, they haven't.
As of yet, but they both said that they very much want to be involved with it. I still think the idea of this remake, rebequel, if they're going to go the Scream route or whatever, it's coming so close to the television series, but then again, so did Scream 5, right? It came pretty close on the heels of the MTV series, so... I mean, I thought she was solid, and I liked her chemistry with Jennifer Love Hewitt in that particular film.
I think it makes sense to bring her back.
Yeah, and I mean, especially because I'd seen her in Moesha, and I loved that show when I was growing up, So it was that, Sister, there was like a whole block on UPN that I really dug around that time. And so, I mean, just kind of sharpen your teeth maybe with this, and then, jump back into the franchise that was, showing that you could do more than just comedy and that sort of stuff. So I'm all for it. If they have a spot for her and it's going to make sense within the script, something beyond the cameo. Is what I would contend.
No, I agree.
Would be a lot better.
I agree. Natalie says I'm definitely interested in this. Yeah, a lot of people would be, myself included. So, all right, next story is going to be that horror legend John Jarratt is returning as Mick Taylor in the upcoming third official installment of the Wolf Creek franchise called Wolf Creek Legacy.
And this is where I haven't seen any of these movies. I know you and Marcia really like this franchise, right?
It's so good. He's one of the best horror movie villains of all time. He's so menacing.
Did they also do a TV series?
Awesome. Yeah, they did 2 seasons of a TV series. He was
With
the
him
killer
as well?
through the whole thing. The whole thing. Yeah, he was chasing a victim through the whole thing. It was fucking awesome.
Now, the interesting thing about this story, from what I recall, is that this is supposedly a soft reboot, right?
I imagine Legacy. He's getting older. I imagine he's gonna teach a new Mick Taylor kind of, and he's gonna die by the end, which is fine. He needs a send off. He's too good of a villain to not get a send off. But I'm very excited. I love these movies, like you said. Marcia and I both love these.
Yeah.
They're really vicious slasher movies. They don't shy away from the gore.
So it's like torture porn kind of.
Not torture porn,
or?
but it's gory. It's closer to like The Hills Have Eyes.
Okay. Yeah, because it's
or
Australian Outback,
Wrong
if
Turn.
I remember correctly.
Yeah,
right?
Wrong Turn is a close analogy as far as the gore.
Okay.
But he is so menacing because he
looks menacing.
He's Aussie and he just has this laugh like, and it's just so fucking menacing. I love these movies. Wolf Creek is so fucking good. Both movies, both full seasons of the TV show are worth watching. They're so good.
Where was the TV series? Where did they play it?
I think it was. Oh Jesus, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't mean to put you on the
It
spot.
might have been Showtime.
Okay.
I can't remember.
So it's not like they tried to soften the gore. Or
no, it took me
like
a while
that,
before
where
I could watch it. It like dropped on a streaming service.
It just
eventually.
makes me wonder if it was like a show that was over there in Australia and New
I don't know.
Zealand.
It was
and those
6
territories
episodes
over
each
there.
season, I believe. Yeah, if you guys haven't checked out the Wolf Creek franchise, watch
The original
first one.
came out almost 20 years ago, dude.
If you like the first
2005.
one, you will like all of the rest because it's all of the quality. The first season, especially, is amazing. The first season, like this family goes into the outback to go, camping. They run afoul of Jarratt or of Mick Taylor, and like he's telling everyone stories, and then he just fucking stabs the dad in the leg with a massive knife, and he kills everyone.
It's like Crocodile Dundee.
Except
That's
the
not
girl.
a knife. This is
Right,
a knife,
right. The
kinda.
girl though gets away, and so the whole season is a chase of
chasing
him
her.
trying to get her as she's like the Hitcher trying to get through the Aussie outback to safety. So fucking good, man. So good.
Yeah, and it's such a desolate sort of area. I think there was a film I watched last year, or maybe 2 years ago, called Rattlesnake.
It was on Stan. That's like Aussie Netflix. Interesting.
Okay. Yeah, but it eventually
The show is on
migrated
Tubi.
over
Okay,
here.
cool. Tubi. You can watch it for free with
that's
commercials.
what I was just looking at right here.
Nice.
And so and the original movie is on Tubi.
Nice.
It's also on it's on Pluto. It's on Flex. So yeah, there's lots of different outlets where.
Watch it.
Yeah, this is one that just like you were mentioning the Laid to Rest movies. I haven't watched those either. Just like
Those
I
are
did.
good
And,
too.
yeah, there's a lot
These
of,
are better,
Yeah.
but Laid to Rest is amazing.
Yeah,
I love
there's a
Laid to
few
Rest.
of these mid-aughts franchises that I just never really checked out when they were first hitting.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. So yeah,
These
because
are good ones.
Yeah, because I kind of lost my taste for slashers for a little while, and then I kind of migrated back over and made my way back. So.
All right, so there you go. Story number 16 is one close to your heart.
It's very
finally.
close to my heart because I was wondering if we were ever actually going to see this movie, dude. Seriously, because it's been finished for a couple of years now. When so Salem's Lot, I have mixed feelings about Gary Dobrin directing it, because oh man, he's a protege of James Wan, and so that's why he's been able to get a lot of these gigs. And I did not as much. I mean, there were screenplays in place when he was doing like the It and It Chapter 2 and whatnot. I did not like his. Well, I'm not here to rag on the guy. He's the one who was doing this new version of Salem's Lot, the third incarnation of it, because there was the original from 1979. It was a TV little mini series that Tobe Hooper of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Life Force. I mean, so many awesome films that guy directed. And then they remade it in
With Rob Lowe, right?
With Rob Lowe, you had James Cromwell was Father Callahan. You had You had Rutger Hauer, and he had such a funny thing playing Vampy in that, man, as Barlow, because of the fact that apparently he was on set for one day, he didn't memorize any of his lines, and so the scene in the casket where he's just talking, like the only time you see him, they had like the lines like right in front of him so you can just read them. He still did a good job, man, and I love the Hitcher, and I rest peacefully, Rutger. But so that one took a lot of liberties. And so this one is supposedly going to be a little bit more faithful, and I really like Lewis Pullman. I like Bill Pullman's son. He's been in a few different things in smaller roles. So he was most recently in a film called Skincare that I just saw a couple weeks ago, which was a thriller with Elizabeth Banks where she has like this cosmetics line and like a shop or I don't know, some sort of salon or whatever the hell you call it from when you go and get makeup and stuff like that done. And so he was a great character in that. And then he was in Bad Times at the El Royale. He was the desk kid. He was in the remake of Top Gun, sequel to Top Gun Maverick. So Bill Pullman's kid, he's got some chops. He's our lead in this. He's playing Ben Mears. He's playing the author, our main guy. And I don't know. It was just after the regime change when Warner Brothers and all the stuff that was going on with them, and they canceled Batgirl. A lot of people thought this was going to be a similar casualty, and King even took to Twitter or X or whatever, and he was bitching about the fact that this would not go theatrical because it was initially intended to go theatrical. It's not going theatrical. It's coming to Max in October, but they still haven't set a specific release date. I don't know. I love Salem's Lot. It's in my easily top 10, maybe creeping into the top 5 or 6 for Stephen King books of all time. It's the first instance where he did a full huge town with all of the intricacies, all of the backstabbing, people cheating on each other, just a wide cast of characters, a similar motif he would return to with It and with Needful Things and with Under the Dome, so many other things. So I'm hopeful it's good, man. I'm trying to approach with an open mind, but it is not an instance where there's like burden of expectation, dude. I'm just hoping it's serviceable and enjoyable. What's your familiarity with the
I've only seen the first one once. I've never read the book.
You didn't see the Rob Lowe?
No, I
it's
don't
on
particularly
TNT
care about
miniseries.
the thing, but I will watch it just as a complete newbie, basically, and hope that it's good.
Yeah, and it's a movie, so it's the first time where they're trying to condense a relatively large novel into
Stephen King, relatively large novel.
Well, Carrie was really short. Carrie was just a couple hundred pages. This was his first bigger. This was his first bigger one. And a lot more going on. I feel like you still can streamline okay enough. And the set photos look cool. The scene with the kid in the window is one of the most iconic from that original miniseries. So yeah.
All right, so we are coming into the home stretch, the last 4 here. I think I hear my son home, so I want to cruise through these.
Yeah, I got Spanish homework, unfortunately, too, which stinks.
So 2 new Halloween video games in the works from the Evil Dead game developer, and there's an Evil Dead game 2 also coming out. This is the art style. It's like side-scrolling slash-em-ups, essentially, is what it looks like.
I honestly dig that, man.
I do too, and I'll be playing them for sure.
Yeah, it's a lot easier for a guy like me who doesn't have as much time for these huge open world, or even necessarily for getting in these like big game parties with all kinds of other players.
Well, presumably the other Halloween game will be a Friday the 13th or Leatherface type game where it is 3 versus 7 or whatever it is, or 1. In this case, it would be 1 versus 4 probably, because that's what the other, that's what Jason's was, I think, or maybe 1 versus 5. So
because this is like a much more simplified, like Metroidvania sort of approach, right? It's more so like almost Mario.
I think it's closer probably to like Maximum Carnage on the Super Nintendo, just like a side-scrolling, like Double Dragon beat-em-up kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
That's what it seems more like to me, not Metroidvania by any stretch.
Oh, I know. Just like anytime I think of those platformers, and I'm like trying to distinguish a side-scroller platformer from different ones.
Metroidvanias are the specific genre. This just looks like a beat 'em up, and I call it slash 'em up because obviously.
Hence the characters and everything. So,
but I'm on board for any video games. I'll always try a video game about the slashers or Ash.
Oh yeah, man! Anytime they're doing the IP, I'm totally for it.
Asymmetrical games, exactly. That's what those are, Tyler.
Yeah, and so this segues into the next bit about the video games.
The Monsterverse is bringing 3 3 video games, including this one called Titan Chasers. They did release gameplay of one of the games. I don't know if it was this one or one of the other 2, but it looked like a Metroidvania, except it's closer to like Limbo, where it's just one level, or Little Nightmares, where it's just one level, but it's a lot of action and stuff. They're shooting and things like that. And then what happens at the end of the trailer is Kong comes out and like starts fighting a kaiju in the background as you're running around doing shit in the foreground.
Okay.
So that's the game that we've seen gameplay for. But I tell you what, I'll be playing that fucking game because it looks cool.
Yeah. So then you would be taking on the role of a human, obviously. Hence the huge, monsters and everything in the foreground that you had mentioned.
Well, the background, just all the because you're navigating through the destroyed city after Kong x Godzilla. Apparently, is what you're doing.
Oh, okay.
So,
nice.
Yeah.
I still really wish they would do something along the lines of, you remember from Super Nintendo, King of the Monsters?
Yeah.
Where it was just like a full-on bash battle sort of thing, and
busting through the city and stuff.
Yeah. So it was almost like Rampage, but you're actually fighting each other and the overhead of the city, the overhead viewpoint instead. I love the hell out of that game, man. Yeah.
Hopefully one of the 3 games is going to be something like that, like a kaiju fighting game.
Yeah.
We haven't had any of those in a long time.
Oh, I'd love it, man. It'd be very cute, very cute.
All right, last 2. This one is that Zack Snyder's Netflix zombieverse has seemingly been quietly killed off screen.
Yep.
We had Army of the Dead, and then we had the offshoot Army of Thieves, which was trash.
Yeah, it wasn't because it wasn't really zombie related, and
no,
I still
but
like that character, the German dude or whatever. But
it's okay. But there was supposed to be like an animated series as well as like 2 other movies, and all of it is canceled now because of Rebel Moon.
Thanks to Rebel Moon. Yeah. Have you watched both?
No, I've still only seen the first one, and I only watched I watched the director's cut of the first one. I did not watch the original.
Yeah. Because I was waiting, just like I saw Jason Smith posting about this too. Shout out to our Sinister Cinema buddy. But yeah, I was of the same thinking of him, where I was like, okay, being Snyder and all, I'm gonna wait until these R-rated versions come out, and that's what I'll hit them back to back. I've seen people be very unkind to these films. And,
I gotta be honest. Even though I watched it in like 10 sittings, I enjoyed the first one. It was long, but it was a fine like origin story. Don't expect a lot of depth on the characters she's recruiting.
I like Sofia Coppola a lot. It's not Sofia Coppola. What the hell is her name?
Sofia Butera or something.
Yes, and she was in Star Trek Beyond.
Like that.
Yeah. So Sofia Butera. Yeah, because she was in the Mummy film, and yeah, she's a killer actress, man. So when I saw she was initially, going to be his lead in that film, I was very excited. But I quite liked that the whole heist vibe of Zack Snyder's stuff, and this film. I saw it in theaters, if I remember correctly, before we reviewed it, because they did that little Netflix one-off for it, and I was impressed. I enjoyed it. It wasn't like Dawn of the Dead level, where he's got, but
it was fun.
Yeah, where he has
it was gory.
James Gunn writing for him, in comparison. That definitely helps a lot. But I dug it, and it's unfortunate if the lack of success and just vitriol for Rebel Moon makes this, just kind of fully fleshing out a universe
I had
a little
enough
bit
of
more.
it, quite
really?
frankly. So,
yeah. After the
I'm not a big zombie fan
German
anyway.
Guy.
The Army of Thieves killed it for me. All right, last story is just a side story, which is
just finished that.
Drama in real life. The Nightmare on Elm Street house has some drama. I don't know if you guys heard about this,
but I saw some horror groups posting about this.
Yeah, for years it's been a place that horror fans could stop in California and take a picture in front of. They did end up putting big hedges on the sides, but there was still a clear shot of the house, and apparently the new owners, which just bought it a couple of months ago, had a run-in with some fans that you can see on TikTok where they got into a verbal altercation, like, this is a house that people are going to stop and take pictures of, and they're like, well, we need you to get off our property, and it was such a bad experience, a bad encounter, that like 2 weeks later, they had put giant plants now there blocking the entire view, so you can't even take a picture of the house at all anymore.
It's kind of a bummer, honestly, man. I mean, I know Stephen King's home in Maine has become almost like a site that people go and they make like a pilgrimage to, and King barely even lives there anymore. But he knows it's a cultural standpoint. It's very much like a it's like a monument of sorts, and this is very much, it's in the cultural zeitgeist. It's very recognizable for horror fans and even the casual cinema fans as well. So they had to have known what they were getting themselves into. I understand intrusion of privacy, so there are two sides to the proverbial story, but I side a little bit more so with they knew what they were getting themselves into when they bought this home, dude.
They had to have.
Yeah.
And so ending it basically just saying that I just need to make sure I win the lottery so I can purchase it and open it up for fans to take pictures of all the time. So, yeah, guys, that's going to do it for all the stories today.
It was a lot.
The
yes,
News
indeed.
with Booze. Thank you guys very much for watching and joining us. Thank you to everyone that contributed in the chat. We greatly appreciate you guys. Thank you to all of our patrons for supporting the channel the way that you do, too. We greatly appreciate that as well. Until next time, though, I've been Cecil Laird.
And gracias, Jaime Fuego.
And remember, guys,
stay scared.
Stay tuned, too. We're going to have reviews of Milk and Cereal, Beetlejuice, and then we're seeing Beetlejuice on Tuesday and seeing The Front Room on Wednesday.
Yeah.
So reviews of those are coming, as well as a couple of other reviews that Fuego recorded today as well. So,
and it's our birthday month.
It is indeed. Yep. So... thank you guys so much, and remember, stay scared.